What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today's video, man, we are back, baby. We are back doing Marvel comics. More specifically, we are doing new comics. This is new comic book day. I mean, hey, it's a thing, and this is fantastic. It's good to finally be able to go in a comic book shop, pick up some comics, actually get some new comics. We can now kind of resume talks on some things that have been going on in the Marvel Comics universe regarding the X-Men. We can kind of get back into those things, but don't worry. The new direction, or not really new direction, just the direction in general of the channel is not changing. I mean, always at X-Men comics. Some of you my more newer viewers who just kind of, came in along the time of the quarantine, you may be unfamiliar, but yes, I used to do pretty much all the X-Men books for the most part. And what we're going to be doing is no different today. We are going to be talking about Marauders number 10 by Jerry Duggan and Stefano Caselli. And in this video, we're going to learn a little bit more about the origin of the anti-mutant weapons that humanity has been using since Dawn of X began, the Quiet Council slowly seemingly falling apart and not being able to agree on anything, Emma Frost's personal message to those who hate minorities, and more importantly, why Kate Pryde's funeral is nigh. We're gonna talk about all that and more right now. But first, wash your damn hands and let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click.
Now, let's go ahead and get the one thing out of the way. The first thing being, the obvious one is that where are all these anti-mutant weapons coming from? This is something that's technically kind of been an issue since Dawn of X began. It has been a point of contention for a lot of people to say, why are all these anti-mutant weapons coming out? This is actually kind of playing off things that have been around for a while. This is Hickman going back into the history of the X-Men, going back into the early I think this was roughly around the time of Uncanny X-Men number, like in the 180s, when this was actually going on, maybe even before that, when Forge used to work for the Department of Defense. He created neutralizers that could nullify a mutant's power, specifically very powerful mutants, and even back then, he didn't know whether or not it was permanent. These were things Forge never really intended to just be used willy-nilly on any old mutants. He was thinking this is something to use on people who are particularly dangerous. And of course, you have people like Henry Gyrick, who basically use these against Forge's will and even use them on people who they didn't really need to be used on. And it just so happens that in the wake of everything going on with Dawn of X, these things have resurfaced and we don't know why. Forge had destroyed all of the plans, the schematics, all of the data regarding it. None of the weapons were mass produced. So why are they popping up now? Well, it just so happens there's a gentleman by the name of Daniels who worked with Forge, and unfortunately for Daniels, he had a photographic memory. So of course he is being used and manipulated to mass produce these weapons that Forge had originally created, these weapons that shouldn't exist anymore. And now the Quiet Council has to decide what is gonna happen with this. The problem is not everyone can agree on what to do about it. The problem being that this could cause an international incident, something even Sebastian Shaw, as shady as he has been lately, even points out. That this could start a war that Krakoa probably shouldn't be getting involved in. Unfortunately, they don't really have the luxury of making that decision because this does involve them. The Russians are mass producing anti-mutant weaponry that could be updated at some point to maybe be able to neutralize mutant powers permanently. Though for right now, it's only temporary. And the rest of the Quiet Council don't really know what to do either, but fortunately Magneto is the one who steps forward and he telepathically tells one of the Stepford Cuckoos to just go ahead, do what you're going to do, and leave none left to tell the tale. Now initially, when I read this, I saw this as, oh, wait a minute, are they going back on the whole kill no man edict that they put out as one of the core rules of Krakoa? That's actually not the case. You see, what's actually happening here is that they're not going to kill anyone, though Magneto's words would lead you to believe one way over the other. What they're actually going to do is to neutralize. They're going there to capture all of the Russian assets, the Russian vessel that is carrying and mass producing these weapons, and they're going to shut it down. Not only are they going to shut it down, they are also going to destroy the ship itself. And more importantly, retake Daniels, who they have been using to mass produce these weapons from his photographic memory of Forge's work. And Emma, who I think, first off, we have to address the fact that Emma is out here using every asset available to her to read and change the minds of the men on this ship, even going as far as to opening up her shirt and basically making it to where they can literally see not all the goods, but close enough to it. So it's almost kind of like, oh, wow, Emma, you're really going there. Using this as a way to distract them enough to be able to just completely take over their minds and make them do whatever she wants them to do. But that's not even really the end of it. What she is going to do is she is going to change their minds. We saw Emma do this using Cerebro and some other modified tactics to wipe humanity's idea of mutants off the face of the earth. She basically used it during the Uncanny X-Men run under Matthew Rosenberg, just literally right before House of X began, to make humanity forget that mutants even existed. Though this was kind of one of those things, like I talked about this in in that particular video that I did for that. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it evil? Was it wrong? What was it that she did? I mean, is this the right way? Is making people forget about their problems equal to getting rid of a problem? It's like, no, it's technically running from a problem, which is something people accuse the mutants of, having Krakoa, is that they're running from their problems. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like removing yourself from a bad situation is a little bit more different than technically just sweeping a bad situation under the rug. What Emma has done is that she has basically kind of conditioned them. She's conditioned all the people on the ship to basically feel physically ill whenever they witness mutants specifically, but also other minorities. They don't specifically call out ethnic minorities, but I think that kind of goes without saying. But they also go on to include gay, trans, and disabled. And basically saying that if you witness people being cruel, engaging in injustice against minorities, you will feel physically ill. And that you will have no memory of these events. You will not remember that, Krakoa attacked you. You will not remember anything about this ship, this vessel, what happened to it, where it has gone, that it has even been destroyed. You'll remember none of it. The only thing you'll remember is that a UFO collected you and little gray aliens prodded you for a few hours and dropped you safely back home. Now, there's a lot of things to think about here. The fact that, yes, there is an actual UFO involved. This is actually the very same ship, I believe it is the Mercury, that they flew down here on, and it is apparently taking the shape of a UFO. And then there's some jokes going on about how, some crazy story behind this. Now, I am a huge fan of Emma Frost. I don't remember her ever having a UFO, or maybe it was something that happened in one of her miniseries I never read, or maybe it's something that's gonna be addressed later. I'm sure someone in the comments will be like, oh, how could you forget? How could you not know about this one random obscure thing in the history of the X-Men? Oh my God. I'm sure someone will give me a comment roughly in that same tone. I don't really care, but the point of the matter is it's something that's kind of played for laughs, and it's not really meant to be taken too terribly seriously. What is meant to be taken terribly seriously is the whereabouts of Daniels, and Daniels is collected by Forge, and they are able to take him back to Krakoa. But the thing is, and I think Daniels understands this, is that he can't go back home. He is not going to be able to go back into the civilized world. He knows too much, and they can't count on him keeping his mouth shut, or more importantly, people just going after him. Now, the thing I find very interesting about this is that, he can't stay on Krakoa, obviously, so where are they gonna put him? Well, it just so happens that they set him up in Rio Verde, Arizona, where just so happens, that's where the Morlocks are. And when he approaches Mask, he doesn't reveal who he actually is. He reveals himself as being Dan Molina, which is funny because that's actually not his name. More importantly, it makes me wonder if, because of the whole Disney Marvel connection, if this is in some way, shape, form, or fashion an Easter egg or a nod to the real life Dan Molina, who is a voice actor most known for being Dirk the Daring in Dragon's Lair. I mean, even back in the heyday. This guy's been Dirk the Daring in pretty much every iteration of Dragon Slayer there's ever been. So it makes me wonder, or maybe it's a nod to his role as fish out of water in Chicken Little. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it seems like he's just going to ingratiate himself with the Morlocks and just kind of try to fit in. Now, what's going to happen here with this? I don't know, but I feel like there's a story here that is going to come out later down the stretch. It's not going to happen now, but this is long-term booking. This is probably something we won't see pay dividends till like a year or so down the road. Now, another thing that has to be addressed is the state of Kate. And then when I talk about Kate, I'm talking about Kate Pryde. Kate Pryde is still very much dead now. I remember when I talked about her the last time, when I did my video talking about, the reasons why Kate Pryde isn't a Neo or an external or any of these other dumb things that people seem to think that she is. And I know when I talked about when the last issues of Marauders number 9, people said, oh, well, we don't know they're even talking about Kate Pryde. They don't even say her name. Well, they say it here. They say it here. Egg, formerly known as Gold Balls, comes right out and says it. That with all due respect, sir, I don't think it's us who are doing anything wrong. I just don't think Kitty can be resurrected. Now, Granny does refer to her as Kitty, but there are still some people who refer to her as that, even though now she prefers to go by Kate Pryde because, once again, even the fans, you people who are sitting at home, there are plenty of you who still refer to her as Kitty, even though she clearly says she prefers to be called Kate now. So that's not even anything to think about. And of course, Xavier, he has things in mind right now. Clearly, he's trying to think of some kind of a way to spin this and get around this and hopefully try again. And I think it's very telling that we have seen in other issues of Dawn of X titles, Wolverine #2 clearly shows Kate Pryde, and they even show her get killed at one point. So it does make me wonder if there's some kind of continuity issue going on. Are some of these events taking place before, after, whatever? Clearly, Wolverine has to take place after this. And of course, we have the whole Fantastic Four X-Men crossover that's going on right now. Does it take place before or after this? Clearly, it must take place maybe after. I don't know. Like, it's very weird how all these things are lining up. Now, one thing I will say, something that does lend some credence to something that came up during the video I did about Kate Pryde, discussing why she can't be brought back. She is not all those other dumb things I mentioned earlier. The fact that she does mention something in one of her letters to Nightcrawler about how she can't even phase through most of Krakoa. Now, the rest of the letter is just her kind of going on talking about her history with Nightcrawler and even kind of copying to some of the dumb and maybe less flattering things that she has done throughout her career. Specifically, one of the times where Storm's mohawk scared her, which is funny considering she didn't bring up the time that she dropped the N-word in front of Storm. But that's a whole other can of worms. We're not here to talk about that. Just saying. I'm not even saying she was being spicy. She was trying to prove a point. I totally get it, but she still probably should have kept that word out her mouth. But that said, yes, she is talking about how she can't even phase through most of Krakoa. So that does kind of lend a lot of credence to the idea that Mora probably is likely behind this. Mora X is very likely the reason why she can't be resurrected, why Krakoa rejects her, why she can't use the portals. Now, clearly, she can walk around on the island because she's done it in the X-Men Fantastic Four crossover. And she also did it in Marauders #1, and she has also done it in other issues, but she is clearly not welcome there. So yes, I think at the end of the day, this has everything to do with Mora X. Mora McTaggart is very likely the reason behind all this. Now, that said, some other things I really enjoyed this comic. I really appreciated the addition of Tempo, a character who I don't really see talked about very often lately. I think they popped up in Age of X-Men, was one of the more recent moments, but a character of color, a black character in the X-Men universe that no one ever talks about. A founder of the Mutant Liberation Front and a former acolyte, and no one talks about her. Just throwing that out there. I also really appreciated that this comic actually pushed forward the story. It pushed forward the plot. It wasn't exactly what I think everybody probably wanted to coming back after the whole pandemic, but hey, it is what it is, and these were comics that were planned well before there was one. So yeah, I can't be mad at this. I'm judging this on the merit of if it would have come out, a month after the last issue. And yeah, it pushed the story forward, maybe not in all the ways I would have hoped, but we do know that the next issue is the funeral of Kate Pryde, and I'm sure we'll get an answer to all of our questions by then, and I'm sure everybody will come up and be like, oh my God, you were so wrong. Oh, ha ha ha. How does it feel to be wrong? Silly Blerd? Ha 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 ha. It will probably be something along those lines. It's usually how it sounds anyway, at least when I read it out loud. But anyway, point of the matter is it's done. It's a wrap. And I'm ready to see what happens next with Marauders number 11. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get that answer. I think the answer's here. I think it's here. Also, man, it just feels really good to be talking about some new comics again. Man, I just felt like I wasn't gonna be doing that again anytime soon, but here we are. I mean, granted, I could have started doing this a couple of weeks ago because DC, they have been releasing comics lately, even before Marvel just recently did. But everyone is releasing new comics this week, not just DC. And yeah, now I really just don't mess with DC like that anymore. I mean, until Dark Knight's Death Metal comes out, I'm probably not gonna be talking about DC very much, if ever again, because man, dude, their comics are just wild trash lately. Yeah. Anyways, let me know what you thought about Marauders number 10 by Jerry Duggan and Stefano Caselli. Wash your damn hands and sound off in the comments. So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in a buck, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus Ultra!